Property insurance. Actually, we're not starting on that page. We're starting on 230. Page 230. So, a policy that covers your home and protects you against other risks is called homeowner's insurance. If you do not own your house, who pays the homeowner's insurance? The landlord. So, yeah, another thing that if you rent your house, you don't have to pay for. I'm definitely not trying to convince you that, but just pointing out that if you own a house, it's more than just buying a house. It's more than just the cost of the house initially. You have to pay for all of these things annually. One thing that this book doesn't really cover too well is that if you have a loan for your house, a lot of these things are in escrow, something called escrow, where you don't necessarily have to take care of it. You pay into your escrow account, and then the bank pays for your insurance and pays for your property taxes. Why might a bank want to make sure that you pay your property taxes and insurance?
So that you keep paying your loan on the house, because you won't have the house if you don't pay the taxes.
Yes, you're kind of along the right line.
Because they want to keep you alive for as long as they can. They keep
No, homeowner's insurance, not life insurance.
No, I mean, I'm using the
He said
life
so you
in the
don't
sense of that they want you to keep paying their stuff forever and ever.
Sort of. So let's look at these separately. First, if you don't pay your taxes on your property, if you do not pay your taxes on your property, you can lose your house. Who owns the house if you have a loan for it, though?
The bank.
The bank. So if you lose your house because you didn't pay your property taxes, who's actually losing the house?
The bank.
The bank. It's their house. They want to keep it, right? Same thing with insurance. If it burns down and you don't have insurance, whose house did you just burn down?
The bank.
The bank's, not yours.
So if you lose your house and you have the loan and you lose it, do you still have to pay back the bank?
If you lose it,
If you can't pay it, so.
so if you can't pay it, yes.
Like,
So if you can't pay for your house, it goes into foreclosure
The bank take it.
and the bank takes it back.
And then they sell it.
And then they sell it and try to
Usually for really
recoup
cheap.
some of their
But
gain.
you still have to keep paying on it?
No.
Usually
Well,
for really cheap.
no, because it's no longer yours. But you also have to move out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what if you?
you're out.
What if it like gets on fire and
Gets
you're
on
paying?
fire.
I mean, burns.
Pay
And
insurance.
no, listen, and the bank is paying for it. It's not your house. So is it their problem or? do
It's
you
the
pay for it?
insurance company's
But
problem.
what if you don't have? Do
You have
They
to.
have to.
You have to have insurance on your
The
house.
bank won't give it to you.
Yeah, the bank will not give you your house until you have insurance on it. Same thing with cars. You have to have insurance before you can leave the lot. It's the same concept. Because then if your house burns down, the insurance company covers it. You're still paying on your house and
So
you get a
nothing
new
can
house.
happen.
What's that?
So nothing can happen. You have to have insurance.
You have to have insurance. Yeah, you have to have full dwelling insurance. And that's what, right here, this list on page 230. Basic home ownership insurance covers the following. It covers the dwelling, so the house that you live in. It covers the other structures, like a garage. Covers personal property, which is the things inside of your house. It covers additional living expenses. So if your house burns down and you need to live somewhere else while it gets rebuilt, it covers that. It covers personal liability, which prevents you from being sued by other people. Why might someone sue you on your own property?
If they get like an injury.
If they get an injury. So if you have a trampoline in your backyard, you pay more for insurance because people are more likely to injure themselves at your house.
Oh, wait.
Yes, yes.
Oh, no.
You don't have to tell your insurance company that you have a trampoline, but technically you're supposed to.
Santa made a mistake.
She said, don't tell.
What
them.
if
Santa made a
what if I
mistake.
come to Bailey's house and her really, really old dog bites me?
Kinsey,
Oh,
Yeah, what if Kinsey bites
Kinsey
me?
would never.
Then I sue Bailey for everything she's worth, and her homeowner's insurance covers that.
Bailey,
How
you're
much?
You got insurance, baby.
Yes. So it also medical payment to others. So again, if you get bit by a dog on someone else's property and you want them to cover your medical expenses, it can come from their homeowner's insurance. Okay? So the amount for which your home is insured is called the face value of the policy. So this is an important term.
face value.
Face value. Face value. It's going to come up over and over again in your problem, so you need to make sure you know what they're talking about. So this is the amount for which your home is insured. Okay? That amount determines the amount you have in other categories. So the face value is the overarching amount of insurance that you have, and then it breaks up from there, how much you get for the other areas. For example, if your house is insured for a face value of $60,000, personal property is usually 50% of that. So $30,000 they assume you have within your house. And that includes like the value of clothing, electronics, jewelry, furniture, carpet, all of those things. It would be
What if you have, like, a
$30,000.
terrible house, but you have the next step? How do they?
Then you just get a higher policy and you just tell your insurance. They ask you a lot of questions when you go to get insurance. They even ask you what kind of dog you have. If you have a big dog, you have to pay more in insurance.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like bubbles.
Homeowners policies may provide other options as well. For example, a policy may insure personal property when you are away from the home. This is called off premises, which is usually 10% of the amount of the policy. For example, if luggage and clothes are stolen while you're on vacation, this could be covered under your homeowner's insurance. Yes. So it can cover a lot of different things, depending on how much you pay for your insurance. I don't love insurance. I never really use insurance, so I think it's a waste of money. But if I had a lot of valuable things, I would feel differently. But I don't. Okay? All right, next important term is premiums. Have we already covered health insurance? Did we already cover health insurance?
There might have been some.
Yeah.
There's been some.
There was
already.
some-
Just barely,
Medicare.
right?
There was a
Whatever.
premium. So
Okay.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
so we've probably talked about this premiums concept before. Who pays the premium?
You do.
You do, and how often do you pay it?
everyone.
Every month, most of the time, okay? So premiums are the amount paid by the homeowner for the policy. Okay? The premiums you pay depend on how many things and how much coverage you want, how your apartment or house is built. So like brick versus wood, they insure differently. Stucco versus siding, they insure differently. Just depending on how often or how likely it is to like burn down. If you live somewhere that is like prone to hurricanes, you pay more in homeowners insurance. If you live in the mountains, that's more prone to wildfires, you pay more for insurance. If you live right next to a river, you're more prone to flooding, and so you pay more for insurance. Insurance companies look for any reason to charge you just a little bit more. Okay, so let's see here. Let's just look at example 1. This is very similar to what we did yesterday, which is finding the premium. Yesterday we found the tax rate, right? It's calculated exactly the same way. So example 1 says that Marion insured his house for $89,000 at an annual rate of 51 cents per $100. Find his premium. So there's 890 units of $100. We just multiply that by 51 cents. Okay, so let's practice. Let's look at A. There's not really an equation for this. I guess you could make one up if you wanted. All right, so Nolan insures his house for $61,000. Whoops. Find the annual premium to the nearest dollar if his policy costs 46 cents per 100. So if we're looking at per 100, remember from yesterday, what are we going to do first?
Take out the zero.
Take out the zeros. So take out these two zeros. We have 610 times the 46 cents. What did you say, Nathan?
281.
281 even?
Oh, it's 280.6 with 3 years off.
Oh, it said to the nearest dollar.
Correct.
That's kind of dumb, but I guess
We'll go with it.
this book does such weird rounding and estimating. I don't know why they do that. Okay,
I concur.
let's do B real quick. Mandy insures her home for $43,000. What premium will she pay if it's 74 cents per 100? So first things first, what do?
Take off 2 zeros.
Take off 2 zeros. So 430 times 74 cents.
380.
Correct.
20, but 3.
You concur, Court?
I concur.
They caught a break there.
Yeah. They saved some cents.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is renter's insurance. So this is all homeowner's insurance. Why would you pay renter's insurance if you don't even own the house?
Cause you're the one living in it.
You're the one living in it. So mostly what do renters insure?
Their belongings.
Their belongings.
Good
Yes.
job, Court.
That's mainly what they insure.
Thanks.
So if you rent a house or apartment, you can buy a renter's policy that provides nearly the same coverage as a homeowner's policy, except for the loss of dwelling. So if your apartment burns down, you're not responsible for filing the insurance on the actual place, but you should have insurance on the things that are on the inside because the landlord doesn't cover that. They're not going to reimburse you for any of the things that were on the inside, even if it wasn't your fault that it burned down. Okay? You're just trusting of other people. So, we are going to use a table for this one. This is something that they might present you at an insurance agency, and they might just show you, like, this is how much it would be. How much coverage do you want? So, if you are rich and you have $30,000 worth of stuff in your little tiny apartment, and you live less than 5 miles away from a fire station, you pay $177. But if you live 5 or more miles away, it's $204. Why is that amount going to go up?
Takes longer for the.
Yeah, it takes longer for them to get there, so the likelihood of a total loss is higher. So insurance companies need to recoup that cost. All right, so let's just look at C and D. All right, Ed and Catherine want to insure their apartment's contents for $25,000. Let me write that down. Then we'll look at the table. In addition, they decide to insure their jewelry appraised for $3,000 for an additional premium of $31. So, does the appraised amount really matter?
Nope.
No, it's just that extra $31. So, if we look at the table, does it say how they live 1 block from a fire station?
165.
165. Oops,
I don't know, that block might be pretty big.
it might be. So 196 total. Easy, right?
Yep.
Okay. This next one is the trickiest. This next section, which is how you know how much money you would actually get if you had a loss. So let's start with the easy way to solve it, and then we go to the hard equation. So if your property is damaged by fire, by theft, if it's flooded, then you file a claim with your insurance company. This is why I don't like insurance. If I have hail and it hits my house and I file an insurance claim, they give me a new roof, right? But then what do? Any guesses?
Raise your rates.
Yeah, they raise your rates. They make you pay more insurance. So the fact that you actually used your insurance, they raise your rates. So then people don't want to use the insurance. So if someone busts their window out, very rarely do they ever file an insurance claim, even though it could be covered, because they don't want their insurance to go up. So what's the point of insurance? I don't know, but you have to pay for it because you don't actually own the house. It's just something to think about, something that adults have to think about. Okay? All right, so, do you remember the term deductible?
Yeah.
Who pays the deductible?
You do.
You do. Yes. So this is the amount you pay before insurance kicks in. So if you have a high deductible, you have to pay a lot of money before insurance will cover anything. Do you remember that with health insurance maybe?
Yeah.
Higher the deductible, the cheaper the premium. So that's why a lot of people also don't file claims, because it's not enough to meet their deductible anyway. All right, let's see. So let's look at example 3 before we do E. Your policy has a face value of $30,000 with a $1,000 deductible. How much will the insurance pay if your loss is $7,800?
Minus the deductible.
So it's the loss. Maybe I can put an equation here for you. So loss minus deductible equals amount covered. This is the easy way to do it, the simple way, without co-insurance. All right. Okay, now going back to E. How much will an insurance company pay for a loss that is $10,200 if the property insured for is insured for $18,000 with a $250 deductible? So we take the loss,
9,000.
1020, minus the deductible is 250. Say that again, Nathan.
9,000. 950.
Okay.
Math.
So insurance company pays this, you pay 250. Not a bad deal. Yeah, not bad. Okay, here's the complicated equation. This is the trigger word. If you see the word co-insurance, then you need to use this following equation. If it says co-insurance in the problem, you have to use this equation. Okay, so you start with the top, which is the face value of the policy. Okay. You divide that by, the book oversimplifies it. You take the property value, you multiply it by the co-insurance percentage. You take this and you multiply it all by the amount of the loss. And that gives you the covered amount. So the math is not hard. It's hard to figure out where you're supposed to put all of these numbers. You definitely need to show your work on this one, because if you miss it on the quiz, I can at least give you partial credit if you get at least some of this correct. So the wording of this is really important in each of the problems. So we're going to practice with G, and we will also do H. This is the last concept before you do your work. Let me back up a little bit and tell you this co-insurance, what does that mean? If you have a co-insurance policy, you purchase insurance up to a stated percentage of the value of the property, which is usually 80%. So your property may be $200,000, but you're only going to insure it up to $160,000. Co-insurance is just another way for them to kind of raise your rates a little bit without giving you as much coverage. Okay, let's see here. If the co-insurance is less than 80%, then the company will only pay for a fractional part of the damages. So this is another way that they use this equation. Most people don't understand this equation, and then they cover less of your loss. And usually people are left just befuddled of like, oh, I guess that's all insurance is covering. I don't really understand why. Okay, so let's look at G. Betsy has a 80% co-insurance policy. So where's that 80% going to go?
On the bottom.
On the bottom, okay? Co-insurance policy of $41,600. Where does that go?
On top.
On the top, okay? The face value of the policy. Her home is worth $65,000.
Property value.
Yep, on the bottom. And it says she has a $4,000 loss. So here we get 52,000. $3,200?
Yep. Yep. Deductible 800.
Okay. All right, let's do H then. Casey's home is worth $90,000. Where's that going to go? Property value. He has an 80% co-insurance policy. And his home is worth, 80% co-insurance policy. They are not giving us the
So we have to find the.
policy amount?
72.
Hmm?
Don't you take that times that and find the
Well,
going
take
rate?
this times 42,000. But they're not giving us,
No, to find the face value of the policy,
you take what?
you take those two numbers down there at the bottom, just take the 90,000
Oh, they're
times point.
just without this on top?
Yeah, and then you get 72, and that would be your face value of the policy, right?
No.
That's the only way I could do.
Yeah, me too. I think they're just not giving us that top number.
How rude.
I know, right? How rude.
But it wouldn't be 72,000 times 42,000, would it?
That would be divided by.
So they must have just a co-insurance amount of just 80% of their property without worrying about what the face value is, which is not what any of the other problems do. So instead of this one, we're going to do number 23. Let's do 23 so we can get another practice. Okay, so 23, first they give us the face value of the policy, which goes on top. So 45,000. On the bottom, we're going to have the value of the property, 75,000, and the co-insurance amount of 80%. Then we take that times the loss of 8,000. $6,000?
That's what I got.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on those?
So what do we do?
Those are the trickiest.
On 27 because it's 90%.
So instead of 80% right here, this would be 90.
So that's just.
Yeah, that's all you changed. So you just have to make sure you put the numbers in the right spot and then calculate. Okay, that's why I definitely write out these problems so you make sure that you have it in the right spot. Okay?
It's probably a good thing.
Look at 22 real quick. 22. So on 21, it's asking for 100% of its value, and on 22, it's asking for 80%. Okay, so I guess we have to do 21 first. So your home is valued at $130,000. Your insurance rate is 72 cents per 100. What does it cost to insure this home? So if it's 100% of the value, what do we do first? 130,000, we're looking per 100. Take off 2 zeros, right?
1,300.
1,300,
72.
yeah, times 0.72.
936.
Okay, so that one's really easy, right?
Yep.
22 is a little more tricky though, because you have to do something first, and they are tripping you up with that word co-insurance, and it's not as hard as it sounds. Okay, if we're insuring it for 100% in this problem, but we need 80% in the next problem, all we have to do first is take 130,000, and I don't do this on the quiz. I don't trip people up like this. So we take 130,000 times 80% first. $104,000? Okay, and then you can just go from there. We just needed 80% off the top, and then we can go from there.
Then we take the 2 zeros off?
Yeah, take the 2 zeros off and multiply by 72 cents.
It's also the same number as taking 936 times 20.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so I just don't want you to get tripped up on that. I don't care if your problems are in a row, so if you have all of these first and then you have the other ones after it, totally fine. All right, questions on this before you get going? Yep, okay. Go ahead and do 15 through, what time is it? 15 through 29, and then we're gonna do the review on the next page, number 39 through 48. Yeah, you're fine.
You're fine. I said, hold on. You said you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay? Let me know if you have questions. I have all the answers up here.